It's February 13th, 2025. I hope everybody out there is having a great week. Things are going very well for me over here at Grim Archer Media. This week I have been focused primarily on the YA fantasy book that I have been working on for now about the last month and a half in terms of full-time effort. I was working on it before that for several other months while I was working on the Mitch Turner novel, the most recent Mitch Turner novel, The Second Option. I should be done with this YA fantasy book here pretty quick, within hopefully the next couple of days. By the time I do another writing update, I should be able to report that I'm completely done with it and have started the process of sending it to beta readers as well as editors. So more to come on that shortly. I am very aware that most of my readers aren't going to be looking for this book. As I said before, I've written it more for my children, and we'll see if it can turn into something that other people are interested in reading as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I am getting very excited to work on the next Jason Maxfield novel. I got a large chunk of this done last year before I started working on The Second Option full time. I was able to get through, I probably saved about 40 to 50% of the way done. The whole novel itself, the whole manuscript is already done. I've done a couple at least one, maybe two passes through it. I have edits and things that I'm going to go make on it here, starting next week, hopefully. And I'm really excited to get that done. I don't know for sure how long it's going to take me. Sometimes some projects will take me a little bit longer. Some will go a little bit shorter, but I'm hoping somewhere between 2 to 3 months, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, I should be able to get that project done. And of course, at the same time, I am also still working on Audrey Spencer. I don't know if I've talked about my writing process too much, but I do like to have multiple projects that I'm working on at the same time. For some reason, my mind just works better that way, and I'm not quite sure why. But anyhow, I do have multiple projects I am usually working on at the same time, and they're usually in different stages as well. And so because of that, I tend to think that it works better for me mentally or psychologically or something like that to be able to have different things that I'm doing at different times in different stages. Anyhow, last night I was reading this new short story from Lee Childs called 11 Numbers, and I noticed he had a character in there named Jacob Ramsey. That kind of just got me thinking this morning about the Jake Ramsey series I have. The first book, Black Brick, was the second book I ever published, the first one being War of the Fathers, kind of a sci-fi fantasy blend. But Jacob Ramsey was a straight up thriller, and Jake Ramsey rather was a straight up thriller. And it's really interesting because as part of my project last year, as part of releasing book 4 in that series last year, I went back and I reviewed the first 3 books. And it's interesting because I think you can definitely see my progress as a writer and a storyteller through the series, kind of watching how I do things differently. And all of that. So kind of interesting to be reflecting on that. I am enjoying 11 Numbers so far. I'm only a little bit of the way through it. As I said, a short story from Lee Childs. I have read a fair number of his Jack Reacher books, not all of them, about 10 of them, I think, so far. And I haven't been reading them in order. I just kind of skip around picking them up when I feel like reading a Jack Reacher novel, which is kind of like a visit from an old friend sometimes. Just, you know what you're going to get, but also the story is going to be very compelling. I have to give Lee Childs and now Andrew Childs credit for both being able to continue a series and keep it compelling and fresh, but also continue to deliver the same sort of experience that you've gotten before. It's really good that they've been able to figure out how to do that. I haven't read the most recent one, but I've read the previous 3, I believe. Anyhow, just kind of thinking about all that. And Audrey Spencer, I think I mentioned that, is coming along just fine. I am very pleased with the progress I'm making on that. I mentioned I have an outline. I'm now working from the outline, something I've tried in the past, haven't done very well at, and so I'm trying it again. So far, it seems to be working pretty well. I generated the outline in the same way that I usually write a novel where that means I'm just generally pacing back and forth in my office, dictating kind of whatever comes to me. And then I go back and rework that and have to make it make sense somehow. I think it was Tom Clancy that said, fiction is different than normal life because fiction has to make sense. Anyhow, that's it for this week. Lots of good things going on, having a lot of fun with this YA fantasy book, getting super excited about Jason Maxfield, and then also Audrey Spencer on the heels of that. Hope everybody out there has a great week.